Thank you for joining us at this time. You're watching News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. Federal government says that smallholder farmers remain the backbone of the country's agricultural sector. Senate rejects bill seeking the extension of retirement age for National Assembly staff to 65 years. Rising cost of living in the country assumes another dimension as a truck carrying food items in Suleja area of Niger State was attacked. Details coming up shortly. All right, welcome back. I am Omohefe Peace Osemere. Now, the federal government has said that the $1.1 billion needed for the rehabilitation of the port in the country was almost ready. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, announced this in Apapa, Lagos State during the presentation and inauguration of 7 security patrol boats by the Nigerian Port Authority yesterday. In November, it was reported that the Nigerian Port Authority said it was launching over $800 million for the rehabilitation of all the ports in Nigeria in the first quarter of 2024. The managing director of NPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, who stated this during a panel session at the 43rd Annual Council meeting of the Port Management Association of West and Central Africa in Lagos. Oyetola, who reiterated the need to modernize the port to meet global standards, has added that almost all the ports in Nigeria needed rehabilitation, and NPA was initiating a substantial overhaul starting with the Tin Can Island and Apapa ports in Lagos. The federal government says smallholder farmers remain the backbone of the country's agricultural sector as they contribute significantly to national prosperity. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Temitope Fadeshemi, made the submission at the training and empowerment of 250 farmers under the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy, NPRGS, in Abuja. Fadeshemi identified the empowerment of verified and validated farmers under the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy as a crucial initiative. Represented by the Director, Department of Agricultural Extension Services, Michael Brooks, the Permanent Secretary charged participating farmers to see their role as paramount in shaping the trajectory of the nation's agricultural success. Now, the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikbo Ekpo, has disclosed that there will be no export of liquefied petroleum gas, that's cooking gas, until local demand has been met. The minister, who disclosed this at a workshop in Abuja, said the government was working to improve supply to the domestic market. Government intervention came as the price of cooking gas rose by over 20% this week from 1,030 naira per kg to 1,240 naira per kilogram. Now, despite the declaration of the decade of gas and the government's push to make gas a transition fuel, low production and rising prices have continued to push Nigerians away from the use of LPG. In the meantime, the Federation Allocation Accounts Committee, FAC, has disclosed that a total revenue accrued to coffers of the government increased to 2.07 trillion naira in January 2024, out of which a total sum of 1.15 trillion naira was disbursed to the federal government, state and local government area councils. FAC, in a communique issued at the end of its monthly meeting in Abuja, said the revenue was shared to meet the needs of the subnational government. According to a press release by the Director of Press and Public Relations of the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Bawa Mokwa, the amount shared is 29 billion naira less than the 1.44 trillion naira disbursed in January last year. The communique said the 1.45 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 463.1 billion naira, money transfer levy revenue of 15.9 billion naira, and exchange difference revenue of 279.03 billion naira. Now, the Senate has rejected a bill seeking the extension of retirement age for National Assembly staff to 65 years. According to media reports, the bill, which was passed in the House of Representatives in December 2023 and transmitted to the Senate for concurrence in line with the parliamentary procedures, seeks an extension of the retirement age of staff of the National Assembly service from 60 to 65 years of age and from 35 to 40 years in service, in whichever way it comes. According to records from the National Assembly, if the bill scales through, it would extend the service years of over 200 workers who are due to retire between 2024 and 2026, including the current clerk, Sani Magaji Tambowal. While some lawmakers opposed the extension of service years, arguing that it would affect the career progression of junior workers, others backed it, saying it would give staff the opportunity to grow for better service delivery. The Senate, however, stepped down the bill after the majority of lawmakers spoke against the extension during debate. Still to come, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, appeals to Nigerians to be patient as the management of the Apex Bank is doing everything possible to ensure that the Naira is strengthened. Details of this and more coming up after this break. Do join us again. Montage. Guess Yazo. Guess Yazo.
Wait, okay?
Sure, veteran journalist. Right, welcome back from that break. Thank you so much for staying tuned. And if you are just joining us, this is News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Now, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, has appealed to Nigerians to be patient as the management of the Apex Bank is doing everything possible to ensure that the Naira is strengthened. Cardoso said this at the 2024 public lecture entitled Recent Developments in a Nigerian Foreign Exchange Market, Issues, Options and Way Forward, organized by the Nigerian Economic Society at the CBN Center of Excellence, University of Ibadan. The CBN governor, who was represented at the event by Dr. Usman Okmanachi of the Department of Monetary Policy, CBN, said whenever the Naira is on trial, the CBN is also on trial. Delivering the lecture, a renowned economist, Professor Sam Olofin, said it will be difficult for the CBN to control the foreign exchange, saying the parallel market forces have taken dominance. Now, the rising cost of living in the country assumed another dimension yesterday with an attack on a truck carrying food items in Suleja area of Niger State. According to media reports, this is just as hundreds of residents of Dikwa town in Borno State protested and raised serious concern over hunger, threatening to join terrorists in the state. The development comes amid a nationwide hardship that has triggered protests in different parts of the country. It would be recorded that there was a protest in Minna, the capital of Niger State, early this month, in which a group of women blocked the Minna-Bida road at the popular Bakungu roundabout to express their grievances over the rising cost of food items. There are concerns that this has made access to 3 square meals per day become increasingly unattainable for millions of people. Now, the Trade Union Congress has backed out of the planned 2-day nationwide protest declared by the Nigeria Labour Congress over the high cost of living, inflation and insecurity and also hardship in the country. The Vice President of TUC, Tommy Etim, said the decision to protest on February 27th and 28th, as announced by the NLC, was not taken collectively by both unions. The TUC, in a letter dated February the 19th of 2024, written by its Secretary General, Dr. Nuhu Toro, said the NLC unilaterally took the decision on the planned protest. The NLC and TUC had earlier on February the 8th gave a 2-week ultimatum to the government to meet demands ranging from wage increment to improved access to public utilities, and accused it of failing to uphold pledges to soften the impact of reforms. Meanwhile, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has directed its members to fully comply with the proposed nationwide protest slated for February the 27th and 28th over the cost of living crisis in the country. While threats of strikes or protests are not new in Nigeria, let us examine the demands of NLC, the body language of the federal government, and the fate of Nigerians in the face of the economic hardship in Nigeria. I have my guest in the studios with me, who is a public affairs analyst, Elder Emmanuel Okoro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. We have a lot, to talk about here with so much to take in. Let's start a conversation by getting your own thought. I mean, taking a look at the renewed hope agenda of this administration, one would say that it is perhaps a bit difficult for the government of the day to match words with action in terms of meeting the yearnings, and aspirations of Nigerians. Why has it become difficult in your perspective?
Thank you so much. My fears are clear. Before you embark on government, you must undertake to study the issues which confront the problems. You must, it's not you may. This is what constitutes your policy analysis. In health, what are the problems? In transportation, what are the problems? In food quality, what are the problems? In education, you go through this major platform and ask yourself, what would we do to improve them? Take an example. In child maternal care, Nigeria still has the worst statistic in Africa and second worst in the world. Now, if any person wants to undertake to govern Nigeria and bring results to us, the person would have to study the issues empirically, not only what you think 4 or 5 people think. Empirical studies, it's not hard science.
Okay, so for you,
yes.
Due diligence was not carried out.
Oh no! Oh
Thorough background search was not carried out before policies were implemented by this administration.
Yeah, look at what happened yesterday. They're about to disconnect the villa from the public source of light. The reason being, they were owing 47.2 billion.
Okay, I mean that's going to be, a conversation for another day.
That's an example of not doing due diligence.
Okay, let's now shift focus to the NLC, that's the Labour Congress, and its unending interventions in terms of pressing home demand of the nation's workforce and the masses. Would you say these demands are realistic? I mean, we've had conversation around, 30,000 naira as minimum wage, and also the proposed 200,000 naira. At the end of the day, we hear it is no longer realistic, and we're also looking at a million naira. How realistic are these?
Well, to be honest with you, the NLC is working for the masses. However, we're going to look at the source of revenue. How much money do we have available to pay these demands? The 13,000 naira demands has not been met by the states. Abia State was still owing until OT came. Community was shocked that some people were being owed 18 months salary. How do you owe somebody 18 months salary and you expect the person to put in the best? So I wanted the NLC to sit down with the state governors,
okay, and
dialogue on how much money is available. It's our money. There's no need hiding it. It's when they go and build big skyscrapers, they don't hide it. They build it, we see it. How come when it comes to building, finding out how much money is available to pay the workers, they don't make it open? Put the table, let us know how much money is available to pay Nigerian workers.
What difference would that make?
Eh?
What difference would it make?
If they let us know how much money is available, we argue. Because now that the labor is saying 1 million, there's no 1 million you can pay. You couldn't pay 30,000 naira. How can you pay 1 million? So let us not be joking about it. Let's seriously find out how much can be paid by what governments. We will dialogue. We can find out some state governments that cannot pay. We find out some state governments that can pay. And these ones who can pay, how much money can they pay monthly?
Now, the question would be, if the government, just in case the government decides to, to the path of the NLC and adopt this 1 million naira as minimum wage, is that even enough to address the level of hardship in the country at the moment?
Now such assertion would improve the country in something else. Costs of living will get past the roof, because 1 million per state, per worker. How many workers do we have? So the millions we are going to pay them, we'll put it out and say, how much money is left for the state governments? What we are saying, realistic salary structure. What can the state governments really afford? What can they really afford? 1 million naira per worker. How many workers, for example, in Abia State? You ask yourself, the government workers here, 1 million naira. If there are, if there are 60,000 workers, you're talking about 60 million people who getting 6 million naira per person. Can Abia State government afford it and still take care of roads?
Why are you focusing so much on Abia State? Are you from Abia State?
No, but my word was, Oti was so shocked to tell us that Abia government was owing 20 months. I don't say it's possible.
No, but that is not news. You also...
It's news to me.
Okay. So what would you say about the case in Benue State? Anyways, that would be a conversation for another day. Now, the disparity between the NLC and TUC, one would say it speaks volumes. It does not just ring a bell. It speaks volumes as to how much Nigerians may have to grapple with the economic hardship on ground.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. This government is prepared to do divide and rule. What
do you mean by that?
What do they mean that the NLC didn't sign the decision purposely? Because they have one reason. NLC says something, TUC says something. The argument is the workers are suffering, and they're suffering because they have minimum income. They don't have enough money to cope with the higher cost of living. I was with the Minister of Agriculture. And when he met me, I said to him, I'm not here for contract. Maybe that's what you're thinking. I said, listen, Nigerians are talking about food. You're not to wear this agbada you're wearing. It's good. But you are a cheap farmer. How do we plant more food for Nigerians? That's your job. But you're pretending. He put his pen down and said, I look at you and tell you the truth. I'm older than you, and I may be more educated because I went to school at the proper times. Several years ago. Food. How do we cultivate food? F-O-O-O-O-O-O-D. That's what Nigerians are talking about.
Cultivating the food, or is that a problem? Or the problem or the issue on ground is the fact that we have people hoarding food items. Are you unaware of, the trucks that have been intercepted by the customs?
More will be intercepted, more.
So, cultivating the food is not really the problem.
No, but this food is not there. The food is not there. If food is there, you talk about affordability. The argument we're making now is, you see the protests in Niger State that was there. The people were very angry. They wanted to fight. I kept my mouth shut. When they were talking about and they were going to looting houses, I saw that they had no food. If you have food, why would you go to a warehouse and break it down and take whatever is there? Whatever is there. There was a place they went, they broke down the house. They had wheat. Wheat was found there. You don't need the wheat, you need the rice and the...
No, but a deliberate plot to even hoard food at a time when Nigerians have a lot to deal with. I mean, the Vice President came out, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, to say that this is just a direct attempt, by the opposition, and perhaps enemies of this administration to sabotage the efforts
it's not
of the
true.
government.
It's not true. We are talking about empirical studies. If you ask Professor... the former vice president, he knows the reasons. He's not talking now.
Professor Shibanjo, you mean?
Oshibanjo, yes. Oshibanjo knows the problem. In and out. There are so many Nigerians who know the issues, but they don't want to talk. They know we are going on the wrong track. They know. They told me. They said, Okoro, all these things people are saying on TV and radio, they listed the problem for us.
Okay, what are some of the problems that were highlighted?
Insecurity. Get eminent people, competent people to take service chiefs. And those service chiefs will put into action a platform that will scare the bandits. These bandits are not monsters, they're human beings. What do you mean? 300 soldiers cannot fight bandits in Nigeria? What do you mean? What are you telling me? If you fight those bandits, give them hell of a fight. And they know that you are going to make them pay price for doing everything. Then they will clear the way for farmers to plant more food.
Okay. Now, should NLC go ahead with the protest? I mean, do you think it will have any bite on the federal government or the issues on ground?
It will not only have, it won't only have the bite, but the bite will pain. We don't need any more scuffles in the system now. We need the federal government, we need the people of Nigeria to unite, to look at our problems the way they are, and realistically bring solutions that are truthfully and empirical.
Okay.
If you talk about food, there are problems too. You solve these problems too, you solve the food. Benue State used to be, what do you call it, food basket for Nigeria.
Yes.
There are reasons. So, the same thing is happening in Enugu and Niger. Those areas that have been known to plant, to grow a lot of food, I talk to them. Have a meeting with them. They tell you the truth. Lock door. Close doors. It's not TV matter. It is a realistic matter. Why is food not coming out again? Now, remember you said there was sabotage. Sabotage, those trucks, they don't fly. They go through roads. So you know where you're going now.
Now, the federal government, on its part, is saying that it is committed to implementing the agreement it entered with the organized labor on the general welfare of workers and other issues. Are you optimistic about this?
Why haven't they done it? Why do we need to be talking? Are we a talk shop? You sat down with gentlemen. You realistically held talks with them. You agreed on your own. Why are you not implementing any?
Maybe because these demands are not realistic.
No, but you agreed and signed. Oh, sorry. I would have given you a copy of the last agreement. If you know it's not realistic, don't sign. Say, I don't agree. It's not realistic. But when you go, they say, okay, this is for signing. My dear sister, this deceit cannot work. If you go to sort out the problems for the workers and you deceive them, they sign and they say, forget it, we're not going to implement it. What I told the Minister of State for Labor, I said to her, Nigerians are listening to you, deceiving labor. Saying to them, you do this and that.
Okay.
And the whole truth is that you are not telling Nigerians the truth.
We really can't say for a fact if the government is deceiving labor or labor
why
is deceiving the government. Why this is just some political
implement your agreements now?
Okay, now, what is the fate of the average Nigerian in all of this?
The fate of average Nigerians is pitiable. Very, very pitiable. Let me give an example. For example, when my daughter came back from the US, she didn't believe what she saw. The rate of hunger is heavy. And if you go to my village, where I come from, Ozutem in Bend, the local government area, people see, when you give somebody a small bag of rice, the person feels you've done something great. A bag of rice is only 70,000 naira. So the point are saying, the poor people, they're not allowed to breathe. Otherwise, listen to me, my sister. Making food available is not difficult. People are talking about AI and other forms of technology being possible. Now we're talking about food, gari, rice, beans, plantain, potato. Look at behind you. Go behind you. Go and count the plantain trees. Look at it behind.
Yeah, just by Wuse Market.
Go and count them. Go. I have gone there. I took 2 policemen. We counted over 15,000 plantain sticks, plantain plants, just beside there. And that same thing we did behind Wuse Market. We can do in other areas of Nigeria by making sure there is large-scale planting.
Okay. Well, the economic hardship on ground, it's really, really biting, so hard. And the truth is, Nigerians are not, finding it easy at all. The reason why there have been protests across the country. Such, a difficult time to deal with or to grapple with, as a Nigerian citizen. Elder Emmanuel Okoro is a public affairs analyst. Really, there's so much we can actually talk about, but time will not permit us.
I know, my sister.
But thank you regardless for talking to us today.
Thank you, my sister.
All right.
God bless you.
Well, we just have to keep our fingers crossed and keep hoping for the best. And that's it for news analysis today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Omo Semere, and I'll be back at the top of the hour with the news update. Good afternoon.